papers, you can refine the parameter, look for more papers, and it goes on. It goes on. These are the basically steps in literature review. We say search for literature, evaluate the sources, identify the theme, outline the structure, write a literature review. Okay. I don't think this one I want to talk about. A critical literature review. Basically the purpose of doing it is to refine your research question objectives. You discover recommendation for further research. I talked about it a lot. Okay, you avoid repeating works already undertaken, and you try to provide, it provides basically insight of strategies technique being used. Okay, so these are the key to a critical review. Basically, when we read, when you write the literature review, it demonstrates what you have read, understood, and evaluated. It should demonstrate the write-up. Link different ideas to form cohesive and coherent argument, and make clear connections of your research objectives and subsequent materials. As I said, research is just one piece of work. It starts from the beginning and it continues, right, and the end. So it's one piece of work. It should be jointed, integrated, and in a coherent manner. Okay. So for you, for us to, the two very important skills that we need to have is when we read a paper, we have to have the capacity. We have to have the capacity to evaluate with what you read, and we have to have the capacity to relate what you read. Okay? They are two very important. Those of you cannot hear me, you have to leave and you have to come back, or you can go to Facebook Live. I'm very sure I'm audible. Okay. All right. So these two capacity you have to develop in you, and it comes from more reading and reading. Read more and more paper, you will develop this capacity to evaluate what you read and the capacity to relate what you read. Okay. And this one, I always recommend that a paper should be written for 4 times. Four times. First reading, we just review. We read paper just for the sake of reading. Second reading, we underline, annotating, underline, highlight. Third reading, we summarize. And fourth reading, if you read more than one paper, then you compare, contrast. Okay. This is a systematic literature review process. I do have a video in my YouTube channel, a 2 hours long video. Please watch that. Conducting systematic literature review. Okay, so you can watch that. It's a long one, so I'm not going to discuss about this. I do have a video in my YouTube channel, a 2 hours long video. Please watch that. Someone, your microphone is on. Can you please mute it? Okay, this is something that I'd like to share. You can actually summarize a paper in 1 page. On Jamila, you can watch that. So I'm not going to discuss it. Somebody's microphone is on. Can you please? Okay, mute. I do have a video. Ms. Jamila, maybe you have to take it.
Yeah, when I mute the person, he again unmutes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So this is a template that I have developed to make your job easier. You can summarize a paper into 1 page. Okay. So I put in between the title of the paper and the bottom, I put the reference for you. So when you read a paper, identify what the research problem, what are the previous research findings, what are theories, hypotheses there, look at how data being collected, then how did they analyze, what is the finding of this research and suggestion for future research. I give you an example of how I've done it. You see, there is a paper, this paper has been summarized. It is a 16 pages long paper summarized into 1 page. I don't need more than that. It's enough. Okay, so those things that we need from a paper. And this is another one, a summary of a paper. You can see 25 pages long paper summarized into 1 page. You don't need more than that. Okay. And then once I read 10 papers, 10 papers can be summarized into 1 page. This is the template. This page actually summary of 10 papers. So if you have that, not difficult for you to identify the research gap and then define your research problems. Okay. Oh, and this one I have shown you. I'm not going to go through that. Okay, so I think I've taken quite a long time, already 1.5 hours. So I'd like to end my presentation here and leave the session with the moderators. Okay, and I will welcome questions from you. Okay, and debates questions are most welcome. It's up to the moderator now. I am done. Huh?
Yeah, thank you.
Possibly we get a few questions first from the chat box, then after that we'll allow the verbal questions. Okay.
Yeah, I could find 2 questions here, so I will ask them first, and then we will move on to them asking them directly.
Okay.
Yeah, the first question is from Muhammad Salman. Which research gap is impressive? Empirical research gap or theoretical research gap for PhD thesis?
I would say empirical, because under empirical you can still cover theoretical, methodological, as well as practical. So empirical would be most preferred for PhD research, because under that umbrella, the methodology and the theory and practice all can be covered.
Thank you, Prof. And the next question is from Nurul Hijra, and she is asking how to know the industrial issues or industrial gap.
Yes, that's basically you have to collect the data from the related industry. Data are available. Say, for example, if you want to get annual reports, it's available in the annual reports, right? The performance data and all that. If you'd like to collect some other information, there are syndicated organizations. For example, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Education, Ministry of International Trade and Industry, and there are many ministries, different ministries in the country. Those have documented data. Central Bank and many other organizations are available to give you the data. So the data will work as a backup to support your research literature gap, okay, to define the research gap for your research.
Thank you, Prof. And maybe we can open 2 questions from the audience directly first.
Okay, now it's open for you, verbal question. Anybody would like to ask?
Yeah, one by one, please.
Can I ask?
Good evening, Prof.
Yes, brother. Dr.
Can I ask?
My
Yes, sure.
Question is there.
We allow Dr. Imran first. We allow Dr. Imran first. Okay, Dr. Imran, please. Dr. Imran.
Dr. Imran, you can ask your question now.
You can unmute, please, Dr. Imran.
Yes. Can I ask about the research questions and research objectives? Maybe the same or different?
Of course, it is different. But the content is the same. Research question, we put it in an interrogative question mark, and research objective, we put in a positive statement. Content are the same, doctor. Contents are the same.
Yes, contents are the same.
Content are the same.
Mostly I see the same thing is there.
Yeah, there are 2 approaches. When it comes to research question, we have a specific research question that we translate the research problem to research questions. But research objective, we can put the main research objective first, and then we can have some research objectives possible. Or you may have this equivalent, research objective. 4 research question, 4 research objective possible. It's up to you which way you like it. I see some professors, they like to have the main question first, and then they have some supplementary questions, supplementary objectives. But I personally prefer straightforward. If I have 5 research questions, I would have 5 research objectives to make my life easier. Okay, Zuraid, is it Zuraid? Is it?
Thank you.
Welcome, doctor. Zuraida, is it Zuraid? Is it? You have any questions, sister? Okay. Get next question, please. You can just reach on microphone and speak.
Hello, Doctor.
Yes.
I have one question. What's the difference exactly between the research gap and problem statement?
Okay, I thought I have explained that. During my presentation, I thought I have explained that. Problem statement, basically, you are just putting in statements of problem, right? Problem in a statement. A research problem is a broad umbrella of research problem that you would like to undertake in your research. And then research problem is translated into many statements, Say, for example, your research problem is job satisfaction. job satisfaction is affected by leadership style, working environment, salary, and all those. Those are the issues. Those could be in a research statement. And when it comes together, it becomes a research problem, that is job satisfaction. Did I answer that, Brother Abdul Salama?
Small circuit.
Okay, Prof. Dr. Virender, I think wanted to say something. Prof, you're most welcome.
Good evening, sir.
Yes,
Dr.
Prof.
Rahman. My question is, I am from India.
I thought Prof is not going to ask me question. Rather, you are going to add on something to my presentation. Yes, Prof. Please continue, Prof. Prof. Dr. Virender, please continue. I think maybe internet issue. Maybe we ask someone else one more question, please.
Prof?
Yes, please continue.
No.
Yeah. I'm Charles from Tanzania. We can supplement the search of research gap from industry. Now, suppose I'm an international student, maybe doing my PhD in somewhere in another country. Mean that we can supplement the information from the industry through literature review, because that we read the document maybe from the industry that we are conducting research.
Mr. Charles, everything is now online. Everything is available online. So I don't think location is a problem. It doesn't matter where you stay. Data is available and obtainable. Okay. It's obtainable. Prof. Dr. Virender, if you are available now, you can speak now, Prof.
Sir, I am available.
Yes, now we can hear, Prof.
Ear problem.
Yes,
Sorry,
please
sir.
continue. We can hear
Hello.
you. Please continue.
Sir, my question is, in the present scenario of the pandemic in 2019, the empirical research and the quantitative of research are the most, our research scholars are effectively in this issue due to pandemic 19. So you may suggest to our research scholars for which type will be research are completed.
Yes, Prof, thank you very much for raising this issue. I see PhD students especially struggling to collect the data due to pandemic situation that we have. I do have a PhD student in my university, my school, was trying to collect data by Google Form through emails. And first time when he emailed 800 participants, not even one responded. Not even one. Out of 800, not even one responded. You can see how he feels sending email, 800 emails, and no one has responded. So collecting data become a serious problem because all of us, we are going through, those of us affected by COVID-19 is definitely they are mentally, physically down. Those are not affected, we are mentally also sick now. Okay, in this situation, I would personally feel that if we do research by qualitative study, possibly focus group online, or online interview and all that, maybe at this moment help us to finish up the research rather than collecting data through development questionnaires. Also, I saw last week a questionnaire being circulated in my faculty. Say within 1 month, I managed to get only about 30 or 40 questionnaires so far, and struggling to get back questionnaires. Prof, if you have any other suggestion, you're most welcome. Yeah, Sister Nurul Fazila, yes. We can't hear you, Sister Nurul Fazila.
Prof.
Yes.
Prof, my name is Hafiz. I'm from Malaysia, from Malacca.
Yes.
I have a question to ask.
Yeah.
Okay. When doing the literature study, for example, if I'm doing research using quantitative method, is there any problem if I make reference to other literature that is doing qualitative, or I just have to focus on quantitative type of literatures?
Okay, very good question. I think many participants have problem on this. as long as it is a published paper in a peer-reviewed journal. Doesn't matter whether quantitative or qualitative, it can be cited.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Doctor.
Welcome.
Doctor, can I ask?
Sure, Prof. Sure, brother. Yeah, Brother Ibrahim.
Doctor, if I found the problem or the gap, how I make sure that it is not solved or answered by someone else? So I go on and
That's what I have discussed during my discussion. If you look at, I have given you 5 questions first, and after that I have given you 7 questions. So there are 12 questions there. I said if you have answers of those 12 questions, then you are done. You got a totally new research topic. So it should not have done by someone else. Okay, please look back.
Okay, thank you.
When I share the slide with you, look back those 12 questions. Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Good evening, Prof.
Yeah, good evening.
My name is Biliamin Abdullahi,
Yeah.
a master's student, Department of Economics, Gombe State University, Nigeria.
Yes, brother.
I was very happy to be part of this presentation, but I was having network challenge. I don't get the full presentation, but I want to make a plea that your material, the slides you presented, how can I have it so that
As long as you fill up the feedback
continue with
form,
self-study?
Brother Biliaminu, if you fill in the feedback form, you will be emailed. The material will be emailed to you. Don't worry. Did you fill in the feedback form? Did you fill in?
I have not done that. I haven't finished.
In the chat box, the link is there. Please click and fill in the feedback form.
Yeah, if you fill in the feedback form, you will receive 3 things. One is the video recording, other one is a certificate of participation, and the third one is the PowerPoint presentation slides. So please fill in the feedback form.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Video, Ban Jamila cannot share the video. Video would be my YouTube channel.
Professor, can I ask a question?
Okay, we get this question. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Brother Tarmiji. Yes.
Hello. Professor, thank you so much for your very good presentation as well. My name is Tarmiji. I'm from Malaysia. My question is, before I attend your webinar tonight, so I did some research on the, I did review some about the problem statement and also research problems there. But I found there is one term they call a problematization and a problematization gap. That makes me quite interesting to know about that term. I try to understand on that term. So do you have an idea on that, Professor? Thank you so much.
I'm not sure, brother. This is, I think, first time I heard of this term, so I may have to study more about it. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Thank you so much for your presentation. It's very useful for me as well. Thank you for it.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, participants. And we will allow you to ask more questions after a while. Now, there is a question from Facebook. It is from Faiza Omar. Prof, how do we create theme in LR? Is it based on our variables?
Basically, research theme comes from the research problem itself. The research problem becomes the theme of the research. That becomes the dependent variable. Okay, and with that theme, we continue to develop the construct. Those constructs become independent variables. So those become sub-themes. So we start with the main theme as research problem, and then the sub-theme are the issues become construct or variable. Those become sub-theme, and that's how we start with thematic. Okay, identifying theme and the sub-theme, and then while we write literature review, we follow the thematic way. Then we combine it with theoretical or chronological most of the time, thematic plus chronological. And in case a theory is an important issue, then we combine with the theory. That's how we develop the literature review part. Prof, I hope I have answered. Sorry, the sister Fazia, is it?
Thank you, Prof. And the next question is from Mangai Solomon Mahanan. Thank you, Professor, for your insightful sharing. please let us know how could one present a problem statement if no one has explored the research area?
Okay. All right. Imagine a situation. The kind of problem that we have, the COVID-19, the vaccination that researchers came out with. No one has done it before, right? They started afresh and it took time, a lot of hard work. So when we talk about research gap, it doesn't mean it's completely something new. When you have coronavirus, this is coronavirus number 3. We have many viruses around us. So they had some clue how to come out with the vaccine. Same goes to the research gap. Say, for example, you are doing a research in human resource management practices and it impact on organizational performance. So human resource practices, you look at, recruitment selection, you look at performance appraisal, you look at training and development, and many other practices that you look at. Under that, you will find something totally new that no one has explored. So that is not difficult to get. That's what we mean by unexplored area. We are not asking you to create a new area in human resource management. It's not. You are just creating new dimension. Say, for example, when you look at the mobile phone now, every time we buy a new phone, you show to people, I got a new phone, but that enjoyment lasts only 1 month. After 1 month, you got another same brand, and you got another one, and with new features. Simple one feature, but that makes it new. That's what you want. You work on the existing literature, existing research, existing theory. Just add on one more feature. There's something new. That's what you want. We do not want you to have completely something new. That is difficult. You don't have literature, you don't have theory. How can you come out with something new and do a research on it? It's impossible. Okay, there must be some guidance there.
Okay, and the next question is from Jedwin Labiano. How many literature reviews do I need to support and justify my research? How many is enough?
For PhD research, we expect minimum 200. For master research, we expect minimum 100 citations. But practically speaking, for PhD research, you are not going to read all 200 papers. Possibly, you will be reading only 40. When you read 40 papers, all 40 papers will have more than 200 paper inside. When you read one paper, inside there, you get 40, 50 papers cited. So when you are reading one, actually, you are reading 20 papers. Do you follow me? So you are reading, actually, for me, if you have read 40 key papers for PhD is enough. And if you are doing masters, about 20 to 30 research paper, you will have gain control over the area. You will understand exactly what has been done and what has not been done. That's what you want. That's become research gap, and you define research problem and continue doing your research.
Okay, and the next question is from Chanaka Ushanda Ranasingha Arachi. Can a research gap always be backed by practically, or is it only limited to quantitative research methods?
No, research, when it comes to research problem, definitely research, qualitative, quantitative, both are the broad category of research. And original research are always qualitative research. And where the qualitative stops, that's where the quantitative starts. So you cannot say only qualitative or only quantitative. It depends on the kind of research problem that you have identified. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Maybe we can open it for 2 questions from the audience directly.
Yeah, Winston Chin, I think you wanted to say something, is it? Winston, please. You can speak now.
Hello.
Yeah, please continue. Hello? Please continue.
Doctor.
Hello. Yeah, Winston,
if
please.
I'm facing my problem.
Okay, I think the internet problem is there. Okay, next one. Other one, please. Yeah, hello. Please continue. Yeah.
Bula, I'm from the Fiji Islands.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a guest.
Sure.
And, my question
and the TV, I couldn't find the article.
Question and hypothesis.
Sorry, sister, can you tell me one more time, because there was a disturbance.
The research questions and the hypothesis.
Okay.
Yeah. Do we have to use it all the time, or is it in some research that you just use? Yeah.
I got your question. If it is a quantitative research, Then you must have research question, and then you transform into research hypothesis, and we got tested with the data and analysis. But if it is a qualitative study, then you have research questions, but you don't have hypothesis. When you complete your research, you will come out with some kind of hypothesis or some assumptions. So depending on what kind of research you are doing. If it's a qualitative study, hypothesis is not essential. If it's a quantitative study, hypothesis is a must.
All right. I have another question. For the slides, for guests, do we receive these slides? Because I cannot proceed to the next stage of the that feedback form.
Can you please fill in the Google form that in the chat box?
I'm filling it, but I cannot proceed to the next section.
Oh, sorry, you have not filled a part then. Which one you couldn't fill?
The matrix.
Okay, just put 0 there. It's enough.
0.
Yeah,
Right,
because yes, it will work. Thank you
very much.
Welcome.
Sorry, please, the forms, the Google forms, we can't move to the next page.
Okay, why can't you do it? Is there any part missing or you couldn't fill?
Yes, the second part, that is the page 2, 3. I can't move to that side to fill.
Yeah, to move to the second part, you have to complete the first part. Is there anything
yes,
that
I've done it, but I've filled everything.
If you have written everything, you can definitely move. Just check again, please.
Okay. Okay, the sister, please ask the question. Yes.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Hello. Yeah, good evening.
I'm from India, sir. First of all, thank you so much for such an interesting lecture. So actually, my question is that if by reviewing the literature review, if I got a research question which has not been explored by anyone before, so what exactly methodology can be used for it? How can I be sure about it if no work has been on it before? So.
All right. Basically, earlier I was recommending when you read a paper, please take a focus on suggestion for future research. That's where you will have the citation. Where people will say that they have not explored into this, and future researchers should be exploring into it. So that is your citation. So you cannot be so sure because you are not reading all papers and all the publication in the whole world. You know, you may not have obtained all the papers, but at least you have a citation. Somebody said that this issue has not been tackled. You know, so that way you can confirm that you are the first one exploring into it. Is that clear, Sister Sivani?
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you once.
Okay, I think Faizan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Hello, Doctor. Good
evening, Prof.
Good evening, Doctor.
I have a question. I'm facing my article. IV find to mediator to DV. Couldn't find.
Okay. I got your question. You got internet issue.
Okay,
you got internet issue, but don't worry. I got your question. When you have a mediating variable, basically if you follow Wilson, then you will have a direct hypothesis for independent to dependent, and then you will have a hypothesis from independent to mediating, then mediating to dependent. Okay. Now,
yes, Doctor.
There must be clear evidence of impact from independent to dependent. That evidence should be there to introduce a moderating. Okay. And then if you have evidence that independent variable has effect on mediating, but mediating doesn't have effect on dependent, it's okay. As long as you are mediating evidence from independent to mediating, it should be enough for you to introduce the mediating variable there. So that would be your contribution. The mediating to dependent, nobody has tested before. You are the first one and you are testing it. Are you following me?
So not compulsory. I need to find the article that support my IV to mediator to DV.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Prof. Terima kasih.
Sama-sama.
Hello. Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Assalamualaikum.
Prof, you have mentioned that there are 7 literature gaps. So for PhD research, ideally, how many gaps we need to state in our thesis?
Okay. Ideally, knowledge gap must be there for PhD. Knowledge gap must be there. You call it as a theoretical gap, you call it as knowledge gap, you call it empirical gap, doesn't matter. But academic research, PhD as an academic degree, the knowledge gap must be there, which you want to fill in. And after that, additionally, if you have little bit of methodological gap or practical gap, would be good. That will boost up your research. But knowledge gap is the most important one.
Thank you, Prof. Secondly,
yes.
Nowadays for online data collection, what is the ideal response rate actually?
Response rate depending on different countries. Like Malaysia, a professional research, the response rate is only 17%. Before COVID, not during the COVID. Before COVID, the response rate for a professional research is only about 17 to 19%. But what PhD students used to do is they employ research assistant, or they go personally and hand in the question and collect the questionnaire. So the response rate would be a bit higher. But still, I don't really buy. If somebody say my response rate is 70%, I'll never buy that. I have seen in PhD Viva versus session, student says my response is 80%. I will tell straightforward, I don't trust this. Okay.
Right. Especially those students like us starting now PhD, is the only method is online. So we need to know this before. Yes. Thank you.
So if previously you were distributing, say 1,000, so now you have to distribute 2,000.
Right.
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, we have 2%. Okay, Brother Ali Fazil, you ask first, then we'll ask Brother Rashid Khan. Yeah, Brother Ali Fazil, yes.
Yes, Doctor. Doctor, about I am student. My program is Master of Philosophy. You mentioned I can read between 30 or 35 articles or journals.
Key articles, key papers. Remember, don't please misquote me. I say key papers. 25, 30 key papers. The paper being cited by everyone. You know, those are the key papers.
Yes.
20, 25 papers should be enough for you to get hold of the area. Should be enough.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you so much.
But you have to have 100 citation in the whole thesis minimum.
Yes, 100. As okay. Thank you so much.
Good evening. Good evening, Prof.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Hello, Assalamualaikum, sir.
Can you allow Kartika Delsi? Then after that, we allow you to ask question. Kartika,
okay. Okay. Thank you. My name is Kartika Delsia from Indonesia. I want to ask you how to select the right books or articles for the literature review, because I've read some article for literature review, but my lecturers say that the article cannot support my research. Thank you, Prof.
Okay. If your paper, the one you are setting, as long as it comes from a peer-reviewed journal, should be fine. So you have to prove that journal is a peer-reviewed journal. I think you understand what does it mean by peer-reviewed journal. When you submit a paper, it's being reviewed by at least 2%. Okay, and then review report is sent to you, then you do the correction, you submit back, and that process goes on. There are many predatory journals available now. They charge you, submit paper today, tomorrow they give you acceptance, and next week they publish. We know those blacklisted journal, predatory journals. In Malaysia, the Ministry of Education itself will help us, giving us the list of those blacklisted journals. So we'll be aware of it, and we will tell students do not cite them. So that would be a way of looking at Sister Kartika. So when you get a paper from a journal, go to the journal website and check what kind of journal it is. That's important. Possibly your supervisor knows that that journal is a predatory journal. That's why he said that it's not acceptable.
Sir, I have a question.
Okay, Prof. Thank you.
All right. Brother Rashid, yes. Brother Rashid, yes.
Okay, sir, I'm from Bangladesh.
Yes.
I'm from Bangladesh. Sir, my question is there any limitation of research question of PhD paper, PhD thesis?
I came across a PhD research when I chaired it or sometime become external examiner. I see 7, 8, 10 research questions there, which I will ask them to make it like 4 or 5, and we'll advise them how to do it. Personally, I do not want to see more than like 5 research questions. I don't think, because you have a research problem, very well-defined research problem, and you are basically translating it to few dimension, few questions. So it shouldn't be more than 5. 4, 5 research questions is just nice. If you break it down, say for example, you have 5 independent variables and 1 moderating variable. So 5 independent variable, you have 5 research questions. And then when come to one moderating, so each independent to dependent and moderating, you have 5 moderating questions, then you'll have 10. But there are ways always, definitely there, you can reduce it to 4 or 5. It's possible. No problem at all to do that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, can I have a question regarding the statistic, the difficulties to collect online data. Is there anybody, I mean, have supporting document or written that? Because that's from the real life experience, right? That I have difficulty. Is there anybody report for that?
I think Miss Anna,
Yeah.
basically, you don't have to have any written support for this. Everybody understands now. Everybody understands. There are certain things.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay.
Everybody, we have agreed. We know this is happening.
Oh,
So you don't
okay.
have to have citation.
Yeah, because sometimes when we write something, right, then we will be asked, is there any citation
If
for
somebody
this?
asks you that question, is going to be a stupid question. Because everybody
Uh-uh.
understands it's a pandemic time.
Yeah.
It's understood and agreed by everyone.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, okay, agree. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Islam, yes, Wissam.
Excuse me, Doctor. I am a PhD student from Iraq. I need to ask, can I use a previously existing research gap, but with the new parameters to increase knowledge in my PhD subject?
Yeah, that's what you are doing. We say, when we say research gap, basically you are introducing new parameters because there is a gap there. To fill up the gap, you come out with the new parameters. Okay, so
okay, thank you.
This is your research gap. You are introducing a new parameters to fill up that gap, meaning that you have identified that there is a missing parameter in that research. So that parameter is the research gap, and you introduce it and prove it and you fill up that gap.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah. Dispersinat. Can you allow dispersia? Dispersory, is it? Dispersory, yeah.
Depository.
Okay. Depository. Okay. Sorry. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Sorry, can you allow depository first? Okay. Yes, depository, please.
I am PhD scholar from India, sir.
Okay.
May I ask a question? At the when we are writing any thesis at and methodology, is it necessary to write methodology and an object in every chapter differently, or first is enough?
Okay.
But in every chapter,
I think I understood, Depository, your question. Basically, the standard way of writing thesis is usually we write first chapter introduction. That's where we'll have overview, research problem, research question, research objective, research scope, significance. That's what you'll have in chapter 1. Chapter 2, we put literature review, and chapter 3 will be methodology. Methodology chapter will not have research question, research objectives. Methodology will have research philosophy, research design, research approach, data collection method, the theoretical framework hypothesis, and your analysis method. Those are in chapter 3. So you don't have to have objectives and a research question in every chapter. Definitely not. Did I answer your question, Devasri? Did I answer your question? All right.
Yes,
thank you.
yes, sir. Thank you for your answer.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Yes, Karim, Mr. Brother Karim.
Assalamu alaikum, Doctor.
Assalamu
Doctor, I want to ask regarding systematic literature review. The area that I am studying in, so there is no too much papers. The last systematic literature review was in 2017. 2017 up to now, I didn't find any related papers, so I can't take. I make research about this area. I mean, it's all papers.
If you have, if you can identify some theories that helps you to develop theoretical framework, you may still proceed to do research. But when you have lack of literature, we will suggest you to do qualitative research, not quantitative. If you want to proceed to quantitative, we may proceed provided you have established theory to develop your theoretical framework.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Prof. And a few more questions from Webex and Facebook Live. One from Webex. Okay, this is from Tika Ram. Professor, should the number of research questions and research objectives be the same?
I think I have answered this question earlier. Personally, I prefer to have same 4 research question, 4 research objectives. I prefer that. But there are also different school of thought. You may have 4 research question or 5 research question. When it comes to research objective, they may put main objective of the research, and then they may have the supplementary research objectives. Okay, so there are 2 different school of thought. I support the one having similar number of questions and objectives. Easier for a student to explain.
Okay, and one question from the Facebook, Marcelina. Thank you very much, Professor, for a wonderful presentation. I'm Marcelina, a PhD student at Rwanda University. I try to find literature about the research problem, and very, very few have talked about it. How can I write the literature review now?
In that case, when you have very few, then I would suggest you go for qualitative research. Qualitative research, research under researched area and lack of literature, availability of literature, right? So you can go to qualitative research. In that case, you'll focus more on what you call data-driven theory. What is that? The other three? A grounded theory approach. I'm sorry, grounded theory approach. So please do little study on grounded theory approach, understand it, and you undertake a qualitative study. All right, Sister Jamila, yes.
Yeah, and there is a question from Muhammad Nizam bin Muhammad Arshad. Salam, Prof. You did mention on reading 40 articles. The articles shall be recent. If yes, how recent? 5 years, 10 years? How recent it should be?
Yeah, first of all, if you have 200 citation for PhD, your 40% research paper, meaning 80 papers should be latest 5 years. 80 papers from the latest 5 years. 40% papers should be latest 5 years papers. But when you talk about key papers, we can still look at 40%. Say, for example, 40 out of 40, 16 would be latest 5 years. I think that should be still fine, because some key papers are very old, because you will follow chronological research findings. A research theory being proposed in 1970, and then you have to follow on research in 18, 19, and 2000, and so on. So the latest papers is still 40% should be enough.
Okay, thank you. And the next question is from Arbani Salman. In identifying a research gap, can we still use the same method with an improvement?
Okay, Puan Jamila, first of all, I think they are sending message. Some participants, they said they want the feedback form in the Facebook. They are watching in the Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
So they want
sorry, what actually happened is, I don't know, like we cannot share it anymore, like it stopped. So I have asked them, I have given the Telegram link to give their name so that I can send the forms later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can you send a message there that you have, please do that.
Yeah, I have. Okay, yes, we'll do that.
Please send a
And
message telling them to join in Telegram, and so give you the email address. Then you can email the form and they fill in. Okay, what was the question? I forgot. Sorry. Okay, you did a literature review. You find a literature gap, and can you still continue? Sorry, I didn't get.
No, okay, Prof. The question is, in identifying a research gap, can we still use the same method with some improvement?
Definitely, you can use the same method and some improvements. That's what we want. We want something new. You can use similar methods with a bit of improvement there, definitely. Okay, the brother raise your hand. Okay, you can ask the question first. Okay. Yeah, brother, the one you raise hand, yes.
Kasim, yeah.
Can you ask the question now? Yeah.
Thank you, Prof. Can I go ahead?
Sure, brother Kashim, yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, I love the way you are going about the presentation. Thank you so very much. Prof, I'm asking, you just talked about grounded theory in the application of qualitative research. I really want to know what that grounded theory is all about before I go searching.
Okay. Okay. When we do not find any established theory, a proven theory in the area of our research, then what we do, we look for some papers which is written based on data analysis, pure data. They just collect data for the first time and they do analysis, they play with the data and they come out with some kind of findings which is not supported by a theory. That is called grounded theory approach.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it, Prof. Thank you so very much.
Okay.
Okay, and the next question. Okay, and this is from Mrs. Agnes. Thanks a lot, Professor. I would like to ask your kind advice. Can you give to students facing the problem of being imposed the topics by their PhD supervisors or advisors? Any advice for coping with that?
Well, I think especially for science and engineering or even medical, when you undertake research, you try to find supervisors who has a grant, research grant. You want a research grant. So if you're looking forward for a grant, then you've got no choice. You have to follow the supervisor, whatever topic given, you have to follow because the supervisor is given a grant based on a topic. For example, like when I had FSGS research grant from Malaysian Education Ministry, I have the title already there. I cannot go away from there. Then I cannot give you the money. If you want the money to be paid from that research grant, you have to follow my research project. So if you're imposed by your supervisor on the topic because you are getting the grant, I have no suggestions for you. All right. In case you are not given any grant, then why should you be following the supervisors? You should be following your title and look for a suitable supervisor. Apply, find out to a university or faculty where professors are available in your area. Then apply there. There's so many universities around. So many universities, so you don't have to look for only one university. If you go for a university where you do not find a suitable supervisor, just change to another university. Even the same university, if you find a supervisor and you find not suitable, you change the supervisor, find somebody who is more suitable for you, for your topic. Personally, I like to have my own chosen topic. I don't want any topic to be imposed upon me. I don't like that.
Thank you, Prof. And the next one is from Rija Ibrahim. What do you actually mean by theoretical gap, Prof?
Theoretical gap is when you have a theory, but that theory is not validated yet, needs validation. That theory has been tested effective in Western countries and developed countries, but not being tested in developing or underdeveloped countries. So you're validating it with statistical data and all that. Even a theory can be expanded. The theory is there, but you can expand it. Even if you look at, say, for example, Parasuraman's the service quality sub-qual model. First, he came out with 10 dimensions, then he make it at 5 dimensions. And from there, so many people undertook research, and now they have different dimensions there. If you look at theory of reason action, TRA, being proposed at Fishburne and one, right? Then we proceed to TPB. Now we have UTAUT, you have TEM, and so you have so many different. So that's what we mean by theoretical gap. A theory is there, but not adequate, not enough, not effective. Validation is not there. Even it's not applicable, so you nullify the theory. So there are many different ways of looking at it. You may look at the video available in my YouTube channel, Developing Theoretical Framework. It's available there. There are a lot of discussions there on it. You can see that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. And the next one is from Kohli. Is it possible to identify a gap from meta-analysis?
Yes, I have shown it earlier, right? One of my point was there. You can do a meta-analysis to find out the literature gap. Definitely.
Yeah, probably this question was put before that, I think. Yeah.
I try to cover quite comprehensive. Most of my webinars, I try a very comprehensive area. Okay, I can finish it off in 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Many webinar organizer will tell me, Prof, please finish it within 40 minutes. I say, then I won't conduct the webinar. I would like to cover the area so that participants can really understand and get a good control over the area. That's what I want. And while I'm speaking to you, it's not that easy. It's already 2 hours and 15 minutes. I've been continuously speaking, not that easy. And I had my second dose of Pfizer just day before yesterday. I'm taking Panadol every 7 hours. Taking my left hand Very painful still. And I'm talking 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes. So it's basically, those of you who are joining me, I don't want your time to be wasted. I want everyone to be benefited. I want everyone to be benefited. So I do not do a shortcut job and leave it just like that. Yes.
Professor, I have one question.
Yes, doctor.
One small question. Can I put that?
Sure, doctor.
Dilip. One question that is mainly I am from science stream. So in case of science, when we write the result and discussion part in thesis or any paper, a research paper, the result part that is in past tense, always we use past tense, and discussion part that is in present tense. So that is applicable for social science or not, that same method?
Yes, doctor. Basically, in social science, we do advocate both. It can be either past form or it can be even present form. Both are acceptable.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Welcome, doctor.
Assalamu alaikum, doctor.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Wish you are keeping well. For my question, I'm asking about the research problem, the statement. The people usually, the students usually use the info or extract them from journals, books, and etc. I mean, for the students, the researchers, are they authorized to compose their own schedule, diagram, some info, comparing to support their statement or not?
That's what I advocate. I always advocate that once you do literature review, it doesn't matter with the meta-analysis or systematic literature review, whatever. You do review and then you find a literature gap. Then you connect it with some industrial data in a table or a diagram or whatever. In my presentation, I have showed it in a practical example. I have shown you some diagrams, some tables of data, and then connected it with the literature gap. And that's what I call it a research gap. Sister Donia, did I answer your question?
Yes, I mean, I want to compose that info. I want to compose that
yes, you have to.
history diagram, something, okay?
Yes.
It's okay. Yeah, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yeah, just to remind our Arabic speakers, if you want to put your questions in Arabic, please do so. We have like Assistant Professor Dr. Rula. She will translate it for us. Thank you.
Miss Anna, I think Mrs. Anna has a question. Yes.
I have a question. Yeah, so I don't know whether I call it as to bridge the gap or not. Let's say if I have really this online research problem that I'm trying to switch my methodology. So let's say I'm my participants actually they are adult learners. So they are my students. Can I use them in the few classes that assigned to me to conduct my research, like a case study?
If you are doing a research on education.
Yeah, education, yes.
Definitely. Then you have to have longitudinal study. So you collect data at the beginning, they collect data at the beginning of the semester, collect data at the middle of the semester, collect data at the end of the semester. It has to be longitudinal study. But if you are teaching, you are doing research in marketing and collecting data from your student, that is not acceptable.
But for education is okay.
Yes,
but sometimes the students, we meet them only about 3 to 4 months. Then
doesn't matter. You, at the beginning of the session semester, you collect data. After 2 months, you collect data. At the end, you collect the data. It has to be because learning of students. It differs at the beginning and middle at the end. At the beginning, students will be on honeymoon. They may not be studying anything at all. They just come to the class and go back. Learning doesn't take place. At the middle of the semester, just come midterm exam, assignment. Oh yeah, we have to study. Then you study. And towards the end of the semester, they have to do good project, they have to do presentation. Final exam is coming. They become more serious. So learning as stages at different time at different, in the semesters. So that's why your educational learning, all those study has to be longitudinal. I doesn't say longitudinal, beginning to middle to the end and all that. Even if you are collecting data from one specific class, then you have to collect data at the beginning of the class, mid of the class, end of the class. That's also the kind of longitudinal study.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, so it can be done. All right, thank you.
Okay.
I'm having a question.
Sure, brother. Continue.
Can you hear me? Nawabuddin from India. Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer and the professor for conducting such a wonderful session. Professor, I'm having one question. Like for the literature review, if you're going through different papers, like there are different, and I mean, that research might be going on all across the world, right? So we have to search through the platform like Google Scholar or. So is it sufficient that we can search only one platform like Google Scholar, or we have to search different platforms?
I think you have to search for different platforms because Google Scholar doesn't subscribe to all kind of journals. Okay, there are good journals which actually the papers are not available for downloading, and you have to pay and you have to get the papers. For those papers, you may not get it from Google Scholar. So in those cases, you may have to use different databases. Most of the universities, the library do subscribe good databases. So you have to follow that, brother now.
But sir, sometimes it happens we don't have those kind of subscription. That's the issue.
That's the problem. That's the problem. If you don't have then you will be suffering. Possibly then you have to communicate with friends who are studying in different universities, which universities subscribe to those databases.
That is the only way out.
That's the only way out. Yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Professor. Thank you.
Can I ask one question?
Sure, please.
Hello, Doctor.
Yes.
Thank you for your presentation. It is a wonderful, and thank Jamila also for their moderating. Awesome. All the thing is very beautiful. My question is, I'm now with my student looking for the impact of COVID-19 on the performance of on one sector in the area here. But we have we didn't have enough literature or paper covering this subject. They are also we find some kind of paper covering COVID, but as independent variable, but there is no match between two independent and dependent variable.
Okay.
For that, how can we conduct these things? And how shall we distribute two questionnaire before and after?
No. Okay, I understood you. There is no before and after because you cannot collect data before COVID already, right?
Yeah, how can we?
Now is during COVID, and we do not know when is going to be after COVID. We do not know.
Yeah, yes, during.
So
how
it's like normal to new normal, and the followed one I call it next normal. Okay, so now we are on new normal, and then followed by we'll be having next normal. And how the next normal going to be, nobody knows. Economies are collapsing. People mental, physical health is deteriorating. So we do not know really exactly what kind of next world we will see once the COVID is over. And I get everyday news of people in my country now expiring. Close friends and all, almost many of them, hundreds of them are infected by COVID. If you look at India, my friends, I have many friends told me many of their very close one died. In my country also, that's also happening now in Malaysia. Yesterday, I got news of two of our professors died in UIA. He was a dean of postgraduate studies from my country, but working with UIA for long. So that's what is happening. So once COVID is over and you start moving, you will see many familiar faces are no more there.
Yes.
Many familiar companies are no more there. So
how can we conduct
in
this
of your research, my suggestion is basically, if you follow my slides that I have showed you, I did discuss a bit. I said literature review has to be started a broad way. Then you narrow it to a specific factor. So as long as you find paper on COVID, you can cite them, and then narrow it down to a specific area. You might have only 2, 3, 4, 5 papers. It's all right. It's all right. If you don't have paper testing the relationship between independent and your dependent, that's going to be your contribution. As long as you have identified independent variable to connect it with your research problem, the dependent variable is fine. So once you come out with acceptance or rejectance of hypothesis, that's going to be your contribution.
Okay, then the questionnaire is enough to distribute the our participants.
For COVID,
Is it
I
enough?
personally, for COVID tests, I personally prefer to have both. You do questionnaire and quantitative study, but please also do little qualitative, say 3 or 5 interviews should be enough. Just because a questionnaire may not be enough to, to extract all the information needed. Because COVID is such thing we do not know even exactly the effect of COVID yet. So when you design questionnaire, you may not be able to provide all the available, the options available there. So in that case, I would suggest, you can have also little inclusion of qualitative findings there.
Focus group or
for either focus group or in-depth interview. I personally prefer focus group because in focus group, because when you go for in-depth interview, people may not be willing to speak much, difficult to get into details. So you can go focus group. Somebody start speaking, other people speak, and then you have debates and all that. You will get many new data there.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
Assalam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Do you hear me?
Yes, correct.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
First of all, thank you very much for your informative session. Yes, sir. Because of the bad connection, I missed a lot of parts of this session, and I don't know whether my question will be relevant to this session or not. I want to ask about the synthesis matrix in doing literature review, sir. And I don't know whether you have a separate lecture on your channel that I can follow later on.
In my channel, in my YouTube channel, I do have videos available on systematic literature review. There are a few videos available there for you. If you want to follow, you can follow that one. But the one you are talking about, I don't think I have any video in my YouTube channel. And Dr. Imran, please continue. Yes.
Say that again, sir. I didn't hear you.
Please continue. Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. I think the internet issue. Brother Maklin bin Ali. Yes, you can ask the question.
Okay, Dr. Maklin Ali here. I'd like to ask you, what is the minimum variables that we need to have for our PhD study? Is it 3 or more?
There is no minimum, there is no maximum. It depends on which underpinning theory you are selecting. But for a PhD study, if you have less than 3, it will look very odd. At least 3 should be there. Don't quote me saying that at least 3 should be there. I said it depends on the kind of research problem you have and the underpinning theory that you have selected. But even yourself, if you look at a PhD thesis, only 2 variable, independent variable, even you will not feel very good. Because the coverage has to be little comprehensive coverage than master or degree research, right? So I would expect at least 3 independent variable there.
So what is your opinion if we do have 1 independent variables, 3 mediating or moderating variables, and 1 dependent variables? In a way, like there are 5 altogether.
I don't think you will be able to sustain with that kind of variable, that kind of framework. You will be cushion left and right. Because when you say only 1 independent and 1 dependent variable, so the underpinning theory covers only 1 variable. Are you saying that?
No. What I mean is because the independent variables is, I'm trying to use the RBV, the resource-based view.
And then there are many variables there. You cannot have only 1.
Yeah, I do have.
Theory is not a variable. Under the resource-based view theory, you have intellectual capital, you have financial capital. Under intellectual capital, many dimensions. Under financial capital, you have many dimensions. So you cannot have only 1 variable if you are using RBV. I'm very familiar with the theory.
Okay. For what I mean is the RBV for my independent variables, there are basically 3 sub-dimensions And the mediating variables, I have one, but of course the items, there are quite a number of items inside there. And of course, my dependent variables is more on the firm performance, basically.
Understood.
Which,
So in that case, you have a few independent variable, one mediating, one dependent. That is fine, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum. Yes.
Prof, I have a question. First, thanks for this informative session. My question is, what is ontology and what is epistemology? It's quite confusing for me.
No problem. Ontology is basically ontology basically focuses on finding out the truth, whether the problem really exists or not. Okay, that is ontology. Following me? So when you see there is a phenomena, there is a problem. Now you want to see whether that problem really exists or not. That is ontology. And epistemology is finding out the knowledge related to that phenomena, that problem. Okay, so epistemology focuses on the knowledge. So now if you look at the different paradigm we have positivism, we look at single truth. Post-positivism, we look at more than one truth. That could be alternative truths available. If you look at interpretivism or constructivism, interpretivism is we explain the truth, that is epistemology. Or constructivism, we construct the truth, we construct the variables and all that framework and all that. So so there are different way of looking at it. Okay, so ontology basically just tells you whether you can arrive at a conclusion to say whether that problem exists or not, but you are not providing any solutions. But epistemology, you follow a systematic way of deriving at a knowledge by providing solution to the problem in hand. Is that clear, Sister Sumaya?
Yeah, thank you, Prof.
Welcome.
Good evening, Prof.
Yes.
Prof, I wanted to ask about, if just say now I'm measuring a job stress. So which instrument should I use, the original author or the revised version? For example, I'm measuring stress among the teachers. So the revised Malaysian version of teacher stress, which is the better instrument?
Okay. Either one is okay. But if you use adapted one, revised one, there are procedures for it to follow. Okay, so if you are adopting exactly what the original questionnaire is, if you use that, then you don't have to do pilot testing or pre-testing. Not really required. But possibly you can just do a pilot testing, meaning you just distribute 30 and collect it back and see. Pre-testing, and but if you are adapting, changing or modifying the items, then you have to follow the stages. First stage, you have to send it to some academic and industry expert and get their views. And accommodating their views, then you have to conduct a pilot study, whereby you have to check the dimension by using factor analysis, testing the reliability using reliability tests. And then only after that, you go for pre-testing. So you distribute some questionnaire. Based on the factor analysis, you drop some items, right? You may add some more items, then you continue to do the pre-testing. You collect 50, 60 key in and see the data train, and if you see is okay, then you continue. So that process has to be there. If you are making edited questionnaire, then you have to follow the 3 steps. By adopting, then you don't have to. You can just do the pre-testing and continue distributing the questionnaire.
Okay, Prof, another thing is choosing a theory. I think theory has either is an individual-based theory or organization theory. How to know which one falls in which category?
And that's why I say you have to watch the video available in my YouTube channel. Developing Theoretical Framework is available, but let me answer very shortly. All theories are developed based on assumptions. So what you have to do is when you look at theory, go to the original paper when the theory was introduced and look at the assumptions. If the assumptions are individual level assumption, then it is an individual level theory. If the assumptions are organization level assumption, it is an organization level theory. Is that clear?
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Thanks a lot.
Welcome. I think we take the last question. It's already 11:30 here.
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Assalamualaikum.
Prof, thank you so much for your talk. I have two, actually, I wanted to know your point of view. One is regarding the sample size, because based on the previous study that I've read, even pilot or randomized control trial, for example, the sample size is very large. I mean, like for this current pandemic, I think it's quite difficult to conduct with a large sample size. And then the second thing is, I wanted to ask you your point regarding, is it okay if I conduct a pilot study for my PhD study, or how is it? Because actually currently I'm conducting a randomized control trial, but I still have 70% more to collect the overall for my sample size. I have collected quite a lot of time, almost like 1 year, and then I was thinking to change my methodology, not change my methodology lah, more towards like change my main objectives. So I will, I think I will I will represent again my research proposal because I wanted to change my objective. What is your point regarding this?
Sister Noor Sajwani, you have to be very clear on this, determining the sample size. If you follow Christian Morgan or Uma Sakaran, the sample size is quite a lot. Don't follow that. During the pandemic, even now, we suggest you to use G power. G power. You just go to google.com, type G power, how to use G power. Or you go to YouTube channel. I don't have in my YouTube channel. I want to put it up, but I don't have time to do it yet. But there are videos available how to calculate, determine sample size using G power. So use G power, the sample size will be very small. Okay, not very big, so not very large. But remember, if you are using G power, then you have to use PLS, more suitable. Do not use SPSS or AMOS. More suitable will be PLS. Use G power. Or there is a formula. The formula is basically number of variables multiplied 10 plus number of items in the questionnaire. That is the sample size. Number of variables multiplied 10 plus number of items in the questionnaire. That is also will give you a smaller sample size. So possibly you can do that rather than redefending your proposal again. I don't think you should do that, sister.
Because actually I had calculated using the G power, but still the sample size is quite big. I mean, like I still need to. I mean, like, I do not know when I will complete the study.
Possibly you have number of variables are quite a lot, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's why, from the beginning, we always tell the students when you decide to define your research problem, make sure you are very careful, looking at the future events, whether I will get access to data, will I'll be able to collect the data and all that. So in your case, possibly a reduction of variables will help you to reduce the size of sample.
Thank you so much, Prof.
Welcome. You have worked so hard. I do not really prefer you to redefine your proposal again. Possibly you can do some amendments with the advice of supervisors, and you can talk to the examiners, inform the examiners through the supervisor that you have made some modification rather than spending an
Oh,
again.
I have made an amendment actually, but still because of the pandemic, I still cannot proceed with the data collection. It's very hard.
I understand, because it's not only your problem, everyone's problem. But somehow we have to sail through.
Thank you so much, Prof.
Sajwani, my PhD research, that time the data was not available online, and I did PhD in finance. So I had to photocopy 900 annual reports. 900 annual reports, and I have to read through 900 annual reports, and then I have to extract data and key in. It took me 1 year plus just to extract the information. And there was one good friend of mine who photocopied 900 annual reports and brought it from Bangladesh to Malaysia, So we had gone through, even that time the COVID was not there. So because of social media, all that, your life is much easier than us. So now with COVID, your life has become as difficult as us. So take it, and do it, inshallah. Okay?
All right, Prof. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
It's me, Prof.
Yeah.
My name is Chan Wing Kwai. I'm doing my last paper on dissertation. I'm doing a doctorate. So I'm a bit confused by the four terms used. Factors, constructs, dimensions, variables. So sometimes I use factors, then my lecturer
Okay,
will
I
say,
got your question. Factors are same as variable. No different. Construct also same as variable, no difference.
Okay.
Is that
Construct?
clear? Construct is the same as variable.
Dimensions?
Dimensions also, okay, dimension could be a bit different. Dimension could be, you may have few dimension under one variable. Okay. So if one variable you have direct hypothesis, you may have sub hypothesis based on dimension possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You may have a variable whereby you have 3 dimension possible, but factors, construct, variable, they are the same. We
Okay,
use
factors, constructs are the same. Okay.
Yeah. Construct, remember I said, if you have attended my last talk, I have showed you how the building blocks of a theory, they start with ideas, then concept, then construct, then assumptions, then theory. That's how it goes, okay? So when ideas come in, it is not useful. You don't call it, something useful, right? So when we make an idea useful, relevant, it become a concept. We can visualize it. And when you can measure a concept, it become construct. So variables can be measured. So construct and variable could be the same. All right. And then we assume relationship between construct, those become a hypothesis.
All right.
Okay.
Yes.
Sister Nabila, I think she has been trying to ask questions. Sister Nabila is.
Thank you.
Yes. Assalamualaikum, Doctor. If my topic is factors affecting consumer attitude towards online shopping, where all the factors are independent variables, and these independent variables are the hypothesis, construct the hypothesis. So how the number of objectives can be equal to the number of hypotheses? Is it possible in this case? In these topics?
No. Your number of research question and hypothesis, I never say the same. I said research question, research objective could be same, could be different also. But hypothesis could be totally different. You can have 4 research question, but you may have 10 hypotheses because you may have sub hypotheses from one research question. Okay, for example, like the last Friday, the PhD Viva Bhusi that I have attended with the Taylor's University, I was an external examiner. The student has 4 research questions, but he has 40 hypotheses, 40.
It is not necessary to make it equal, the hypothesis and research question or objectives.
Yes, no.
But the research question and the objectives are supposed to be same.
Can be the same. Can be different, but most of the time we expect to be the similar.
Okay. And one more question, is it necessary to have the methodological gap in PhD research?
Not necessary. Not necessary, depend on the kind of research problem you have. If you find your research gap is methodological gap, you want to introduce a new methodology, then it's going to be methodological gap. Most of the PhD thesis, you will have knowledge gap and practical gap. Methodology gap is not there, most of the cases. Certain cases only you will have the methodological gap.
I have one more question. That is in case of population, can we determine the numerical value of the population size, not the sample size, the population size?
Why not?
Now, I would want to know. My question is.
Okay, say for example, you want to do a study on online shopping in Malaysia. So the total number of population is impossible to determine numerically. You do not know how many people do online shopping. There's no data available on that. But say for example, you are doing a research on student satisfaction in university, then the total population can be found in numerical. So it depends on the kind of research you are doing.
It depends on the kind of research. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum, Prof.
Assalam. Yes, brother.
Thank you so very much, Prof. Prof, I am actually connecting from Nigeria, and I have a project to do. I'm a PhD student, and my topic is actually on Nigeria's foreign policy and climate change politics. In this case, I want to look at how the international politics surrounding climate change is going to affect the economy of Nigeria, thereby.
Are you applying for PhD degree in Netherlands?
Excuse me, Prof.
There is a Netherlands university applying for that kind of applications for PhD. Are you applying there?
I haven't, Prof. I haven't, Prof.
Okay, I know because many people contacted me and they proposed this kind of topic. I said, why so many of you asking for that? Because they say no, they are applying in a Netherlands university for scholarship. So that's why I'm asking you. My network is very well.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm actually studying in Nigeria.
Okay. Fine. Basically,
Yes.
when you talk about politics,
so I'm a bit lost. I do not know how to even frame my topic. So I am lost. I need some help. Yes.
I got your question. When it comes to research revolving around politics and corruption, all that, very difficult. Okay, so if you want to do a quantitative study, I think you will have serious difficulty. So you may go into qualitative study and then followed by little quantitative study. Okay.
Okay,
so
sir.
You have to go for mix study, mix mode.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, I think quantitative
Okay, sir.
is having difficulty. The data, how to collect data on political influence and all that. I think very difficult quantitative. Unless,
Yes.
even if you design questionnaire, who is going to fill up that questionnaire for you, and what kind of data they have to give you? I think quite difficult.
Okay, Prof. I understand that one can combine two theories in a PhD work thesis.
When you say one theory is not enough to capture the research problem you have identified, then you have to introduce more than one theory.
Good. Prof, in this case, in this particular study, I intend to make do with liberalism, as in the international relations. And then, of course, I came across a work just yesterday talking about the philosophy, the Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy of non-violence, in essence, talking about peace as a form of theory. I have never had or read any other in any other place. I do not know whether that theory is fit for me to use now.
That's not my area of research, so difficult for me to give you a conclusion.
Okay, I get it. Okay, thank you so very much, Prof. I appreciate you. I really appreciate you. May God bless you.
Understand me? I have control over certain area of research, and most of the research area I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert in any research area. I got little knowledge. So, but in your area, I don't have any knowledge about it, so I'm unable to guide you. Sorry.
Yeah, you are wonderful even at that, Prof. Thank you so very much.
Okay.
Yes.
I think the last question, Jamila, the last question.
Okay,
I told Miss Hanun, she told me she prefers to be called as Hanun, Jamila Hanun. I told her this morning, we'll talk to Dr. Sonia, possibly we'll organize one webinar, just question and answer session with me. So we'll keep 3 hours. And then we'll let you ask whatever question you have in any research area. I will try to, I'll be glad to handle that. Okay, so 3 hours question answers in any research area you would like to. So you can present your thesis, your draft, your ideas, and you want me to help you and a bit on that, also possible, no problem. So that one we'll do, inshallah, in August. We will plan with Dr. Sonia. We'll talk to Dr. Sonia. I think she's not sure whether she is online. Dr. Sonia, are you there? Not sure whether she's there. Okay. Possibly Dr. Sonia and upon Jamila and some other universities who are interested, we'll do a collaborative, one just question answers. Question answer with poor Amin. Okay. All right. So participants, basically, thank you very much for your presence, participation, passion, hearing, being with me for 3 hours. I wish I could continue to get more questions from you. Unfortunately, I think we didn't take any pictures. So
we need to do it now, Prof.
Those you are on, can you please switch on your camera and allow us to take some pictures, please?
Yeah.
Everyone, can you please switch on the camera if it is okay with you? Sisters, of course, you have to get ready. If you're okay, please.
Just before that, a little note, Prof, just to thank you. Yeah. So thank you very much, Professor Dr. Aminul Islam, our eminent speaker from University Malaysia Perlis, Professor Dr. Ayman Sulaiman Al-Khatani, the Dean of Business School of Muta University, for initiating this collaborative work. Assistant Professor Dr. Rula, the co-moderator, and our dear participants who are academics, PhD and masters from more than 50 countries. It's almost 12 a.m. in Malaysia now. I would like to take this opportunity also to thank the School of Graduate Studies of University Technology Malaysia for enabling us to do this collaborative program. So we still have so many questions in hand. Actually, there are so many questions on Facebook and Webex, but we couldn't do it since we have reached like 12 o'clock now. So as Professor just now mentioned, we will organize another program just for your question and answer session only. We will do that soon. Now let us take some pictures. This is just for our record. So we would like to see your faces if you can. Please switch
Dr.
on your video camera. Thank you.
Rula, would you like to say something, Dr. Rula? The main organizer actually for Muta University.
Yeah, Dr. Rula.
Yes, Prof.
Would you like to say something?
I'm on behalf in Muta University and the Dean, we are thanking the Professor Dr. Amin al-Islam for joining us this webinar, and also the great thanks to you for facilitating this webinar. Thank you a lot.
You're welcome. I think this is my second highest participation in a webinar. No, not second, the third highest. The highest number of participants live I had once is 1,725. That was the highest number of live participants I have in a webinar. Then the second one was about 800 plus, and today I think it was 700 plus in the Webex, but I don't know how many was in the Facebook, so I'm not sure. Possibly, definitely.
Yeah, we're more. So yeah.
Yeah, I think possibly it's 1,500 or could be more based on the Facebook and all. So thank you. I do not know. I feel like I always tell my wife I know so little, and yet many people come to listen to me, and sometimes I feel shy seeing so many faces. I'm not sure how much I could have contributed to your knowledge. I hope that some of my deliberation will be useful to you to complete your research, and hope to see you in some other times. I do have a schedule of number of series of webinars next 2-3 months. Students have a lot of requests. A webinar on in vivo, a webinar on SPSS I have been doing. I have done 2 sessions. The final session I'll do it by next week. The final session on SPSS I'll do it by next week. Then we'll have also a webinar on PLS. We'll have a webinar also on writing impact, high impact journal papers. So there are many on in the schedule. On the schedule, I do have a speaker, so there will be few webinars. I won't be speaking. I will let others. I will introduce few other people also. So those are online. So you have to keep in touch with me. You can keep in touch with my Facebook if you want to. I think it's because I'm very selective. I only take those researchers in my Facebook friend. So anybody send me requests, I'll go through the profile. I'll see the Facebook posting, all that. If I don't see anything on research, I won't accept. Okay. So that's how my Facebook is. That's why I still have about 2,500 left. So if you want to join, you can join. You can just type Aminul Islam, AMINUL, Aminul Islam. You can see my photo there. You can
we gave the link. We gave the link also, Prof. Yeah.
Okay. I think Puan Jamila has given you the link in the chat box also. You can join me.
Yeah, those who could not fill, actually, we will also we have the Telegram group and we have the pre-registered group so that we can send them the details.
Yeah, I do have also WhatsApp group, webinar WhatsApp group. First group is full. Third group also going to be full. The second group we still have few. So, but if we need, we'll create another group. So you can be also connected with me in the WhatsApp group. That's where you can ask me question, and I try. My schedule is very packed, but I try to respond to most of the questions that the student raise. Even I receive many calls, emails, all that. I try. I always try to answer and okay. Can you take the photo now? Puan Jamila, are you taking?
Yes, Prof.
I think someone has synchronized it in a different way. Okay. Is it you have done it or someone else?
I think the vice president must be doing it.
Okay, okay. Then you can now take the photos. Usually I do webinars for my office where I have a small studio, but due to pandemic situation, I do it for my home. So my light is very dim, so not bright, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. Are you taking photos? Jamila, are you taking?
But someone else is doing, not my friend.
Okay, someone is taking. Okay, okay. Because there are so many pages. Please switch on the camera.
Done,
Please.
doctor. I took the pictures.
Oh, that's,
Okay, okay.
okay,
Please
that's Dr. Ola.
switch on the camera, everyone, please.
Yeah, Pavitra, are you taking them?
But we
Yes,
cannot,
Hanan.
but we
Okay,
cannot
okay. Go.
see her, right?
Thank you. Thank you,
we cannot
Pavitra.
see her. She did not switch on the camera. Okay, please switch on the camera. We are taking the pictures, photos.
Prof, I switched on my camera, but I cannot see the picture.
I see. Maybe because of the internet connection is not that strong. It's all right.
Me too.
It's going to be 12 already. I know 12 midnight here in Malaysia. When Friday I was taking the Pfizer second dose, doctor told me, Prof, you have to be on race for 4 days. Please be careful. I said, no, why? How can I have race? Because Friday, 10 o'clock, I got the vaccination. 3 o'clock, I had to attend PhD Viva Voices session. At night, 9 o'clock, I had an MBA class. And today I had this webinar. And today, basically, the whole day I was preparing the slide for you all. These slides are all brand new slides that I have prepared for you today. So I was sitting and doing and sitting and doing, and so it's like, so whole day was with this webinar.
Thank you, Prof.
Possibly tomorrow I will have some time to take rest. I don't get fever. Was fine with me.
Thank you so much, Prof.
The people who has injected the vaccine are so professional. I'm so satisfied. They have done it so professional. I did not feel anything. When they push the injection vaccine, I did not feel anything at all. They are so nice, so professional. But when I come back home, I started getting pain. It was just the area, just that area. No fever, just that painful in that area.
We are grateful to God for your health.
Yeah, first dose I had pain for 4 days. I think second dose also. Today is the third day, so I think by tomorrow hopefully will subside.
Please keep your video on for some time because like we have to take several pages and you are not sure in which page you are in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep
Thank you.
your video on, please. Now even not as many as
Just
we had.
keep your smile for some time as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Teen
That's nice.
Can you switch on your camera if you don't mind? Keep your camera switched on. You cannot see which page they are taking the picture. They are changing the page and taking the photos. So you do not know which page they are now in. Okay, but still, I think we still have 300. Sometimes it surprises me. How can you take me for 3 hours so long and you're still with me?
I would still wait, Prof, if you are doing it.
Once it's pandemic over, inshallah, we will have some physical sessions in some places.
Which question you asked to add knowledge, add value to your knowledge. Thank you very much, Prof.
So, you're welcome. So you're taking the photos, right?
Taking
Yes, doctor. Done.
Done all that. So they have done. They are done with taking pictures. So if you allow me, if you all allow me, can we end the session? I have to go for this.
Yes, Prof. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You all take care, stay safe, stay healthy, and see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. And thank you all the participants.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you.
Thank you. See Shamila.
Thank you so much. Welcome, Dr. Rula.
Hi.
Thank you.
So looking for another session, inshallah.
Inshallah, we will organize.
Thank you, Prof.
We have participants from 50 countries today, so so it's amazing, you know. I think.
Thank you, Prof. Assalamualaikum, everyone.
We are looking for another session, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much.
Take care.